Yesterday was media day for Super Bowl 55. Again, different than ever before. No opening night, no gathering of reporters plus whoever happens to get in to ask all sorts of crazy questions of the players, etc. But still, plenty of players and coaches talking yesterday. Plenty of interesting information developed. And let's begin with Patrick Mahomes, the MVP of Super Bowl 54. Is he better as he embarks on Super Bowl 55? Here he is from yesterday talking about one way that his game has improved.
I think every single year that you're in the NFL, you learn more and more. You get different looks, especially with our offense. We get a lot of crazy looks and crazy blitzes and stuff like that. You have to learn how to adjust and to learn how to go out there and make and have successful plays. And so this year I felt super comfortable of recognizing defenses, recognizing blitzes, recognizing coverages, and being able to get us into the right play and get a successful play going and a completion. And so it's definitely something that I'll continue to grow and continue to learn, but I feel like I'm at a way different level than I even was last year.
That's the scariest thing about Patrick Mahomes is he continues to develop as a player. He's only been a starter for 3 seasons. At some point, his brain will essentially be a football supercomputer that has seen everything, that can process information, that can't be fooled, that will know exactly what the defense is going to do before the defense does it, like Tom Brady is after 20 years of playing quarterback in the NFL. And you get to that point where you're in the sweet spot where you still have the high-end physical skills and you have the high-end high-end brain power. It comes together. There's a point 6, 7, 8 years down the line where he'll be at an incredibly higher level than he is right now, Chris.
Well, most likely, yeah, but it's extremely high level already. I mean, even for a guy that's this young, in his career, that's what's scary about the Chiefs. I mean, you and I, we've talked about this a lot through the year, right, Mike? I mean, we went through that phase early in the season where teams were playing off coverage, not letting them make the big plays, do anything like that. And they, of course, adjusted their game plans accordingly to that to go, okay, now we got to grow our offense in the short passing game and do all those type of things. And that makes Mahomes have to make quicker decisions as well. And the fact that they're in the shotgun and teams are having to disguise and do so many different things to try to just lessen the advantage a little bit with all the great talent the Chiefs have. Yeah, I'm sure Mahomes has seen, some more intricate, crazy defenses maybe than some other young quarterbacks in football, because defenses do have to take chances from time to time because they know, man, we can't play this team straight up. But really, that's where it's become amazing, and they're almost unstoppable that way. Zone, they got all the plays. Oh, you get up close to them and play man-to-man, they can beat you deep. Oh, now it's, off coverage. Mahomes will make a quick decision on man-to-man and get the ball out of his hands, and that's where he's special. The physical and mental are both awesome.
End of the day, there's only 11 guys on the field. There's only so much they can do. There's only so much that a quarterback has to see before he has seen it all. They're not going to concoct some brand new defense out of thin air after 100 years of football. I mean, there will be adjustments. There will be changes. There will be things aimed at attacking perceived weaknesses on the Chiefs' offense. Problem is, where are they? With Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, where are the weaknesses on the Chiefs' offense this week? One of the weaknesses, and we'll be talking about that in a minute, is the absence of the starting tackles. But Tyreek Hill is there. He's part of the overall package that the Buccaneers will be dealing with. When he met with the media yesterday, Hill talked about his desire to get the football in his hands and do some of the things we saw him do against the Bills in the AFC Championship. Here's Hill from Monday.
So this is Tyreek keys to victory? Yes, let's go. Tyreek keys to victory. 1, get Tyreek the ball. 2, get Tyreek the ball. 3, I'm not even gonna say that. I just run fast, man. Even if they double me, I just run fast still. Because if they double me and I'm running fast, that's gonna clear somebody else up.
Yeah, and even if they double him and he's running fast, they're still going to find ways to get the football to him. That's the thing. You think you can take away Hill. If you do, you got to deal with Kelce. If you think you can take away Kelce, then you got to deal with Hill. You look at the numbers from the AFC Championship, the Bills were unable to take away either And it was Hill who had incredible numbers against the Buccaneers when they decided not to double him in Week 12. He was on pace at one point. Peter King did the math in Football Morning in America. He was on pace for almost 1,000 yards in the game based upon his performance in the first quarter alone. So, yeah, Tyreek Hill, incredible performer, and it doesn't matter how many guys you put on him. If they can't stay with him once he kicks it into high gear, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter, and it's how they use him and how they use the rest of the pieces and pawns off of Mahomes and Tyreek Hill that make it so special. You know, that's another thing that you look at them, it's Hill deep, it's aggressive passing, and then you got Kelsey working the middle of the field, and that's where Mahomes is special because he brings it all together, Mike. You know, he's got this great balance of, oh, wait, you're playing man-to-man? You can't do that against us. I'm going to be aggressive. And now I'm going to throw some go routes and some double moves. Oh, now you're playing zone? Hold on. Let me recalibrate my brain. And now I got to think, don't be too aggressive. Have the patience to work Kelsey underneath or in the middle of the field for 12 yards and do those type of things. And to me, that's where the offense has gotten better and Mahomes has been amazing. You know, the Tampa game's the perfect example of it, really, in a lot of ways. They played some coverages where Kansas City just went, we can't let you get away with this. You can't play bump and run on Tyreek Hill. So then they were aggressive and go after him. The game goes on. Tampa adjusts, starts to play some zone and things like that. And Mahomes and company have the patience, just like they did throughout the year, like we saw in the AFC Championship game, to just go, okay, 5 yards here, 8 yards here, no big deal. You know, Tyreek Hill catches a 6-yard pass, it become a 50-yard gain. And Kelsey, he catches an 8-yard pass, it becomes a 15-yard gain. And that's where it's fun to watch because you just feel like it doesn't matter what defensive scheme you throw at them, they're going to find a way to start moving the ball and making plays.
With Hill, the speed is undeniable. How has he grown as a
Amazing.
route runner over the years?
Oh, well, he is a good route runner. I'm never going to sit here and tell you it's great, but he understands how to use his speed to his advantage. And he could put his foot in the ground, of course, and make a right-hand turn at 100 miles per hour. And, yeah, it might not be the most perfect route mechanics in the history of the sport, but it doesn't matter. He understands how to push leverage and do things like that. They're all nuanced. That's the one thing, too, is like, you know, Brady, we know he's all in. That's what's awesome about him. But Kansas City and Andy Reid and Brett Veach and company, they've acquired a lot of guys that they love football. And I think it shows, you know, on the field on a weekly basis. And they work on their craft. And you see that in their individual play.
I at some point this week, I got to go back and watch all of the Week 12 game because I remember the buzz at halftime. Mahomes had 359 passing yards in the first half of that game. He was on pace to obliterate the single-game record set by Norm Van Brocklin back in the early 1950s. 554, I think, is the magic number. I never can remember that. A lot of these records are burned into your brain. I think it's 554, but I always feel like I have to check. It's 550-something. And
I believe you're
Mahomes
right,
Mahomes was at 359, and the Buccaneers were able to slow it down a little bit in the second half. Well, considerably. It kept him from even getting to 500, but they made the mistake of not doubling Tyreek Hill, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with Hill, how they deal with Kelsey, and how they deal with getting to Mahomes. That's the big difference this time around. 2 tackles gone. Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz has been on IR. It's going to be Mike Remmers at left tackle, and that was news to Jason Pierre-Paul, at least the name, not necessarily the body. Here's JPP talking about the guy he's going to be facing coming on Sunday.
Yeah, Jason, I was wondering what your thoughts are on Mike Remmers. And when you face a backup like that, do you just go in expecting a bunch of more?
Man, I ain't even know who that was, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. But if this is a tackle that you're talking about,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't too much care about it. You know, they got to figure that out, and I'm going to play some great football this weekend.
Yeah, doesn't know who he is now, and
He
it's
doesn't
not
care.
bulletin board material. It wasn't a gratuitous diss. It was just like, I don't know who, who? I don't know. I'm just going to go play. I don't care. Put anybody out there. go find Anthony Munoz in his prime and put him out there. I don't care. I'm going to go play football. That's his attitude. And between him and Shaq Barrett, with both tackles gone, they're going to be able to get to the backfield. But the question I still have, and this goes back to last year when it was Nick Bosa and company chasing around Patrick Mahomes, if he continues to be slippery and elusive, it doesn't matter. We saw that one sack against the Dolphins where they tripped him up like 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That is a rarity. Usually he knows where his body is in relation to the others and how to get away from the guys who are chasing him. And there it is, sack percentage, 9.9 when under pressure. That's tops in the NFL. It's hard to get to Patrick Mahomes. The 49ers couldn't do it last year with their great pass rush. They couldn't do it consistently, if at all. I can't remember if they ever sacked him last year, but it wasn't the kind of performance we thought we were going to see from the 49ers pass rush, and we'll see if the Buccaneers can do better. But they do have that advantage with a left tackle that Jason Pierre-Paul doesn't know what his name is.
Well, yeah, and just that's gonna light a fire under the Chiefs a little bit. Like Mike Remmers, they're not gonna like put it on a bulletin board, but he'll remember that. Especially as they get into the game, and maybe it's been 3 quarters, JPP hasn't got a sack yet, something like that. He's gonna remember that. Oh yeah, you don't know my name yet. Either way, and it wasn't meant disrespectful, like JPP's saying. I agree with you. I think it's a guy that just he just worries about himself. He watches the film and he plays football. He's not sure who's starting or who got moved around on their offensive line or anything like that. But Mike, this is the key to the game. I mean, it really is. This is where I ask you, and where's the advantage at? The offensive line, as compared to last year for the Chiefs, is definitely not as good going into this Super Bowl game. Now, this defensive line for the Bucs, I don't think is as good as that 49ers defensive line, but it's very good. And then there's the aspect of, okay, now the secondary. And yes, there's talent in that secondary for Tampa, but as we've seen all year, they'll give up plays. There's holes in their zone. You can beat them man-to-man, especially Kansas City and Tyreek Hill and company. And that's where I look at it and just go, okay, compared to last year, where do you think the advantage is? Like, last year you said it was very even and things like that. Going into this game, who are you giving the notch up in the matchup, the offense or the defense here in this one? Or how much are you giving Kansas City's offense the advantage in the matchup?
Well, I still think that with Hill and with Kelsey and the ability to adapt and Patrick Mahomes improving as a football brain, they'll factor in the reality that they're not going to be able to take the steam out of the pass rush, so they'll have to do things differently. And Mahomes actually was sacked 4 times last year in the Super Bowl, and even though they won the game and they had that great final 7 minutes, it's kind of easy to forget because we focus on what ultimately determined the outcome of the game. It wasn't easy sledding for the Kansas City Chiefs until they found the gas pedal with the deep throw to Tyreek Hill with 7 minutes left. It changed everything in that moment. It changed the perception of the game. It looked like the 49ers were going to win easily, and the Chiefs turned it around and won the thing going away. But there were 22 sacks of Mahomes this year. He was sacked 4 times by the Saints, one of the best defensive lines they saw all year. There were 5-6 games with no sacks at all. I think that the Buccaneers defense has gotten better on the back end since getting shredded in the first half of the game against the Chiefs in Week 12. You've got young players who have matured. You got a lot of draft picks over the past few years that are back there playing corner and safety, and I think that makes a difference as well, because if you can just slow down Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, if you can keep them from getting open too quickly, then maybe you have a chance at getting home and getting to Patrick Mahomes before he finds that guy open. It's not going to be easy for anyone who would be facing the Chiefs on Sunday, but I feel like the Buccaneers defense just kind of gets overlooked because it's all Tom Brady and company, and I think they are better than they were Week 12. They couldn't be much worse than they were in the first half. Part of it's scheme, but I think collectively, it's half of a season since then. 7 games they've played since then. They're going to mature. They're going to be better, and I think they're better for the experience of having faced Mahomes and the Chiefs once already in the regular season.
I think that's always an advantage, the fact that you get to see a team and get used to their speed and their movements and things like that. The Chiefs' offensive line's not as good as it was, at that time, even though it wasn't great in that Week 12 matchup to where I went, oh, man, it's, one of the best O-lines in football, nothing like that. But it's gotten worse because of injuries and having to deal with things like that. We've talked about a lot, like the last few weeks, about all the sprint outs and things like that. See, this is where Mahomes is special. And this is where it's hard to get a gauge for the game in a lot of ways. And I today will go back and watch the film of the game because on Wednesday I do a deep dive into the prior matchup a little bit. But I just know off the top of my head, one, the Chiefs were this close to blowing them out, and I'm winning by 30 points. But also, what's fascinating is the Bucs hung in there. The Chiefs blew some opportunities, right? Mecole Hardman fumbling in the 10-yard line. They missed Mecole Hardman wide open for an 80-yard touchdown, and it was only like a 15-yard throw. There were some opportunities where you go, oh, the Chiefs could have won this game 40-10, and they could have been done by early fourth quarter. But at the same time, they didn't. The Bucs hung around and had chances to win the game. That's what's crazy about this matchup. And then to add to that, Mike, what's crazy about Mahomes is we talk about pass rush, but his movement and how they use him almost negates the pass rush. Andy Reid's so smart with the sprint outs and all those type of things too, to where I really think in a lot of ways we've been talking about pass rush, but the more I think about it, I just keep going, man, this secondary in Tampa is going to have to play the game of their life. And Todd Bowles is going to have to have the game plan of his life, because I just don't think you can depend on the pass rush getting there and getting to Mahomes. You're going to have to cover or confuse him a little bit, and I don't know if that's possible, but I think that's really going to be one of the key matchups of the game. Like you said, that young secondary versus all these weapons and how they have adjusted and matured, and I'm not sure about that versus this group.
The Bucs had 2 sacks of Mahomes in that Week 12 loss. Final score was 27-24. And you had noticed down the stretch, I remember you saying it multiple times, that Chiefs offensive line wasn't as stout as it had been, and it was forcing Mahomes to avoid the pressure with his legs. And we know he can do that. That's one of the things that is a given for the Chiefs. He's one of the few quarterbacks who, when it all falls apart, he can run away from pressure, extend the play, and make a second play after the first one didn't work the way it was scripted. And there aren't many guys who can craft that second play on the fly. Mahomes and the guys he has down the field who will adjust their routes and find an open spot, that's some of the moments when Mahomes makes his most magic.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.